All right, so I'll show you what I've been working on, some improvements. I'll go over all the features that this thing can do. All right, so initially this program started with encodings, changing containers, qualities and whatnot. So that's what you see here in the middle. But this toolbox has gone beyond that. So if you're not doing any of that stuff, I put a toggle in here, you can hide it just like this. All right. So now I also added a toggle for the log. You can expand the log. You can search it, you know. Search the log. Oh, there it is. Okay. Clear the log, you can copy log, whatever. So one of the things that I've been working on is the transcription. So let me open up a video. This is in the public domain, this video, so there's no copyrights on it. It's released by NASA. Okay, so the first thing it does has the direct-to-chair player, so you can preview all your videos. And it tells you where it is, the LVP, on the bottom here as well. Playing at 30 frames per second. Okay. Now the player, it will change dynamically how it behaves when it's used with the holding bin, which we'll go over in a second, and or direct to workbench. The holding bin that works at the metadata level allows you basically to do clips, to assemble clips to make a new movie or film, whatever, video, whatever your project needs. So you can do this visually. Let's say this video, by the way, I went to YouTube, I found it, and I clicked download from URL. I literally put the URL in here, you know, the one, and I clicked download and downloaded the whole video. So that's what we're watching right now. So I wanted to show you the part where they take off. So I'm going to go in there, find it.
This is Christine.
Final work. We'll get them moving. Booster ignition. We're listening for go.
Okay,
for
I'll place the marker here. Start marker.
That's a helium purge of the 4 core state engines.
It is auto.
Master Glover.
I just want to.
Outstanding, Stan. We have the same.
Okay, I put the end marker here. So now it's selected the video. I'm going to send it to holding bin. Clip added to the holding bin. So now the holding bin. The holding bin is where you can assemble your clips. This is the clip that we send holding bin. You can have, imagine clip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can rearrange them. You can put transitions between the different clips, durations. There's effects if you want, all kinds of effects in here. Text overlays. This is an indicator, but if you click, you know, text overlay here, and there's all kinds of cinematic effects for text overlays as well. If you click OK now, you see text, you know, text overlay indicator has been turned on, but we're gonna just select this video and turn it off for demonstration purposes. Okay, so that's turned off now. So now that you have the clip, obviously you can preview just by double clicking on it. This is what we selected.
4, that's a helium purge of the 4 core state engines, core stage engines downstream of the.
So now let's pretend this, you want to export this. So you can just add the output, type in, you can browse, let's put it in documents and give it name, launch NASA test. Save. You can pick your proxy, what kind of quality you want. This is good enough for me. I'm just going to add it here. I'm going to run the queue. This shouldn't take too long. And you can see it's taking advantage of hardware acceleration on Mac. It's Video Toolbox, and on Windows 11 it will be your CUDA, your NVIDIA card. I do not have an AMD card and an Intel card. I don't know if it will work with those. I simply can't say that because I don't have that hardware. As a developer, I have not tested that, right? So this clip is 7 minutes and 24 seconds. So it's already rendering pretty quick. Now keep in mind, I use the baseline Mac for development I use is an M1 Mac. M1 MacBook Air. It's the first one that they released when they after switching from Intel, when they start releasing their own chipsets. I still like it. It's a very great machine, but it's a good baseline because if I can make this, if I can release it and optimize it and it works really well M1, that means it will work even better on an M2, M3, M4, M5, and you have a more like a professional thing with more cores or more memory, it will be even better. So an M1 Mac Air is 8 gigs of RAM. For some reason I cannot clip that right now. I don't know. It's 8 gigs. That was basically the release, 256 GB of storage, SSD. It's all on a circuit board. So
sequence 4, that's a helium purge of the 4 core stage engines downstream of the propellant.
So there's that. So that's what that is. The director workbench. Let us clear this video and select what we just did. So here's our test video. The workbench, what that is, that's a whole bunch of additional things that normally you don't find in video editing. The first thing it's going to do is analyze the video. It does stratified random sampling way beyond statistical significance. I did that on purpose. It analyzes, and one of the effects that you can do is there's a lot of cool effects in here, but one of the color grades as well. You have all kinds of color grades in here, but one of the things it can do is it can reframe or apply a rule of thirds if you want. And you can preview all the effects before you apply them to your video project. Like for example, this guy here.
Sequence 4, that's a helium purge.
You can tell it
reframed
it because it cut it down. See, it cut the top
downstream
now,
of the propellant valve.
This
gets all the air and
obviously you're not going to be doing this in movies and professional movies where they had directors and everything, because they already did that. But maybe if you shot something on your GoPro or iPhone, you were not paying attention to your framing, the rule of thirds. You can fix that kind of, and you can play around with the parameter settings here. That has a lot of cool effects. So let's add this guy, and you can have these open. So added this effect here.
Sequence 4, stream of the propellant.
Let me stop this. And we can make this about here. We can also zoom in. Let me put this over here. Let's see. Let's play that effect. See, it says rendering that.
Thrust vector control.
So you can do that, and you can add another one. You can put it in a different spot. You can remove this whole thing, clear effects. So the player will automatically adjust when you're working with the director workbench and or the holding bin. See, if I click on the holding bin, here you have access to audio effects, additional audio effects that are not available in the other interface. So it just depends what you want to do. Another thing I've been investing a lot of time is the transcription, the whisper. So you can download from URL, Facebook Reels, potentially other places. One thing it will not do is download anything that's DRM protected. So if someone has a video like a subscription service, for example, Netflix is not going to be able to download anything from Netflix. That's pretty much illegal. But you can do screen recording. Transcription is really cool. I just added, before I had small, medium, and large. So I added these 4-bit models. They're smaller, they take up less memory. So for example, the large model takes 3 gigs of memory in a Mac. So 3 out of 8 is quite a bit, but this one only almost the same performance, and it takes only 1 gig. So let's take this one and we'll pick accurate. Let's pick English, but you have other languages here, and it will allow you to download, like, let's do it. So this one, pack ready. Oh, this one is ready. Let's pick something that wasn't. Pack needed. Okay, so you just download literally this download button. It will download that pack. The reason it only comes with English, and you have to download anything that's available from this drop down. And the reason for that is because I don't want this program to be too big. If I made all these language packs available, it would just balloon it, and you probably would be only working with 1 or maybe 2, right? Languages. Most people don't speak beyond 2 languages anyway. So let's wait for this to download. It shouldn't take long because it's on I'm on local LAN here. Also, the size of the language pack will vary depending on language. There it is. It's Farsi, Turkish. But for this example, we'll pick English, and we'll pick a color. Let's pick this color. Pick where you want it. Pick what kind of fonts you want. We'll just do transcription. So the first thing it's going to do, it's going to load the model into memory. It says loading large 4-bit via the Whisper engine and that neural engine. So, and the 4-bit model is almost as good as the regular large. Like I said, the large model is 3 gigs loading to memory. This one is only 1 gig, so it's much quicker. As far as your resources, and again, this is only an M1. So if you have a M2 with more memory, maybe 16 gigs, whatever you have, like I think the newest MacBook Air is an M5. It has 16 gigs of memory, or maybe even more. I don't remember, but I can just imagine this being a lot faster on those. But as a baseline, that's what we have. So let's wait for this to load. So it tells you it's loading it. Now this movie is 7 minutes, right? So how long will this take? I don't know. A 20-second clip using the large model took about 25 seconds. Now this one is a 1/3 size. So it might take a while. It may take a few minutes actually. Let's just see. While this runs, I'll explain the rest of these. So yeah, your director chairs, it can be just a regular player, like you want to see what you downloaded from using this option here, or you open the file and you want to see what it is, right? So it doesn't, VLC is a program I really like, but this is all in the program. You don't need to open up additional programs, additional resource memory. It's all in here already. So the holding bin, again, this works at the metadata level. So it's a non-destructive, non-linear way to work with videos. It doesn't in any way destroy your original video. And you can create reference clips. That's why it's so fast. That's why it can do that. And the director player will dynamically update to this. So like you saw before, it was showing you audio effects. And this one doesn't have audio effects. So it's kind of like depends what you want to do. This has effects that kind of work on top of your video. Applies them on top of your video. So it works a little bit different. But it's also non-destructively, it doesn't destroy your original content. Because at the end of the project, whichever way, just a different way to work about it, whichever way you go, at the end, when you have your clips arranged and everything in the right order and you're previewing it, everything looks cool, it allows you to export your project. You can also save, you can save your project as you're working of it in case this is a bigger project. It's going to take you a while, so you can come back to it, both here and here. This one, let's open this guy up. So this is originally when I first started to develop this, it was just a director chair player, and then I need a quick way to edit it. So if you wanted, for example, to cut, let's say, from 2 minutes to 4 minutes, you could do that in minutes, hour, minutes, seconds, milliseconds, whatever you want. It tells you like how to do it, or maybe 450 seconds to 650 seconds. So you would add clip. See, it adds it to the clip. So even though this is transcribing, you can keep working on. You can still do things. Here's that clip that we just did. Let's just double click on it and see.
Purge sequence 4. That's a helium purge of the 4 core state.
So, it's not end of the world when you're transcribing. Of course, you have a more powerful computer. It's better. More memory, more, better cores and stuff like that. Speaking of this, let's talk about Windows 11. So on Windows 11, the only difference is that transcription has an extra option of speaker detection. Speaker detection means the people who are in your video. Let's say you have two or three different people or characters in the movie. What it will do is it will assign different colors to different people speaking. Like this, maybe this guy has, white color or some other color combinations that fit, and this allows your brain to easier pick up who's talking. And this especially is useful when you are obviously when you are using transcriptions to see a different language other than yours. So that's what this is the only difference. And the reason why it's not implemented on a Mac, I actually got it to work on a CPU only, but it was such a poor performance. I couldn't get the model to use hardware acceleration or video toolbox at all. I don't think that model has yet been developed for it. I'll give it another shot later, see if I can do it. But I got it to work, but the performance was very poor. Even on like a 20-second test clip, it was taking like many minutes to do it. So it wasn't, it wasn't something that I would release on the Mac currently, at least. But on a Windows, it's easy because Windows, you would use an NVIDIA card, like a graphics card. Those have thousands of cores, CUDA cores, and with the CUDA software, it's just a totally different experience. And it supports that hardware acceleration for the speaker. This one also supports hardware acceleration for the modeling transcription, but not for the speaker option. So that's the only difference. Dependency check is just shows you what packages installed, stuff like that. Then the black and white filmic, this allows you to convert the movie to black and white. Let's look at that. So let's say you have a color movie or a color film, something you want to see different, or maybe you have an older movie that's in black and white from the 50s or 60s or 70s or 80s, because this technology didn't literally exist. Maybe you want to improve it. So I'll give you an example. Let's watch this clip and this color clip, and using the Kodak XX 5222 film, which is a very famous film, and you can click about these stock films. It will give you an idea of what they are, what kind of films were filmed using these stock films that are no longer really used because it's just so expensive to do analog filming, because this is real film and you have to cost a lot of money, and then you have to develop it and splice it. And a lot of these skills are kind of in the way. No longer, they're kind of becoming lost with time. Now it's all digital, but we have this, we can approximate, which is pretty damn close. As you can see, it's transcribing and
Bound for the moon.
And it's
humanity's next great voyage
giving
begins.
you something like this. Now, I'll be honest with you.
Good roll pitch.
You would only want to do a black and white conversion to something artistic or something that you want to see it from a different point of view. So for example, I'm a collector. I have vinyl. I have lots of vinyls, CDs, all kinds of things, including a lot of DVDs and Blu-rays. So I took, I have the original John movies and I ripped it. By the way, once you rip a DVD, my tool doesn't do this because I don't want to have any legalities. I don't want to deal with it. But there's a lot of programs on the internet. It's been available for many years. You can figure out how to rip things fairly fast. So once you have the file ripped, you will have it will create a video TS folder, and inside this folder you'll have your like video files, your menus, your audio files, everything. There's multiple files. So you just point at that, and it will create like an MP4 file for you of the Jaws movie, and then you can just click on black and white filmic. Click here. Do you want to output as such, and click convert, and it will process and convert it for you. So honestly, don't know how long this is going to take. I should have probably done a smaller sample, to be honest with you. Elapsed, it's already 8 minutes, and that's longer than the video. I feel like this is close, so might as well just finish. But I'm using OBS to record this. You can see it's using about 8% CPU just to record this, and you're definitely using resources to transcribe. And you saw we were doing other things. I was able to do on an M1 Max. So just imagine what the performance would be like on an M4 and M5. Much better, especially if you have like 16 gigs of RAM. You can fit more stuff into the RAM. What else can I tell you about this? I guess this is it. Oh, well, let's talk about a few things here. You can you can literally connect your iPhone with a cable. It's not wireless or anything, but if you connect your iPhone with a cable to a computer, to your Mac, that's you can import it really quick, and it uses a library that's really it overrides a lot of the iPhone protocols. It's able to import everything really quickly. Oh, and then the same thing for GoPro as well. So here you go. The way it works is it split this process up into a few steps. The first thing is that wherever model you selected has to load it up into the memory, and it tells you here, loading model like we saw memory. The second thing is it extracts the actual transcription. It creates a transcription file with the voice. It's an actual text file. If you open it, you can see what the words are and everything. It has the timings of the video frame. So that's what we're waiting for. Now it's actually burning. See, it says burn. Now it's burning because that's what we selected, to burn the subtitles to the video. And it's doing it at about 57 FPS. That shows you which frame it's on. So that's what the log is. The log allows you to see what's going on, so you're not in some black hole. A lot of software hides what it is doing. I didn't want to do that. So it tells you, you can kind of see where it is. It's speed. It's at 2.3x the speed. So 7-minute video should finish in about 2 minutes or so. 2.5 minutes, whatever. So this shouldn't take long. And again, it tells you here as well what the FPS is, what the bit rate is, and the speed. This would be faster if you were on like an M4 Mac or the newest ones. Again, back to the baseline of why I picked this Mac. It just so happens this is the only one I have at the moment. So when this finishes, should be here coming up soon. I guess there's, in a way, it's a good example to show you how long it takes. So 7-minute video on a hardware that's not very impressive at all. It's still able to do it. So an hour of film, like if you have an hour, 20-minute film, I would take about an hour and a half to do. maybe a bit longer, but you know, it's you're able to, let's say you have a French film, you want some French film that hasn't been transcribed. You want to watch this film, but there's no subtitles on it for English. This will do it. And the cool thing is that you can also burn the subtitles. You can control the font sizes, the location, the color. You can do all that kind of stuff. And then you can just watch the film. You know, you can just read it. Now, if you're a slow reader, fear not, because I used to be a slow reader and I took speed reading classes in school. You just have to practice to become a much faster reader. And I can literally scan things with my eyes. Now, depending what I'm doing, right? If I want to absorb more information, I'll slow it down. But if I'm just like scanning for information and it isn't too important, I can do it pretty quick. So here it is. I put it in the documents. So let's just clear this thing. Burn complete. Let's pick this media. Here it is, test video with subs. So now, if I click director's chair.
Sequence 4, that's a helium purge of the 4 core state
engines.
That's
the color that we picked.
Downstream of the propellant valve. This gets all the air and moisture out of there.
GLS is go for purge sequence 4.
So,
moving through the milestones.
So this is
all
pretty much
good.
The whole thing. Hopefully you, if you're considering purchase software and you want to,
in just a few seconds, we're going to get that thrust vector
you
control
want to support a small independent
test.
person, one person.
This is a gimbling of
that's
the
me.
engines.
I would highly appreciate it and tell your friends. Right now, there's no marketing here. This is all 110% word of mouth. I don't advertise anything because it's such early stages, and I really want this to kind of work on its own. Now I did.
Parts. And there you see them moving.
I did think about initially releasing this as open source or whatnot, but then I was thinking about back to different projects as well, open source, and no one would ever donate any time or money. This one project I did, and I ran for over 10 years. I didn't get a single donation from anyone. So just from that experience and in general, how people behave, they expect everything for free. Because of that, my development costs and everything, this is not free.
From the rocket's upper
okay,
stage.
so hopefully you like this.
CPS, and it's been
Cheers.
switched to battery.